that sheer excitement and joy to get out in the water and surf, like
pure happiness.
Yeah.
Just like eager, just up for it, having a good time. You're just so stoked to just be there.
This week, I'm delighted to be joined by Mar Ellison and Lizzie Elphick, the founders of the Sisters of Stoke, a thriving community for female surfers. These ocean soul sisters are on a mission.
Our mission statement is surf, empower, repeat.
To share their passion and make surfing accessible to women of all ages and abilities. Mar and Lizzie are super inspiring. In only 12 short months, they've built an incredible social community in a traditionally male-dominated environment. And as the Sisters of Stoke celebrate their first anniversary, I was also keen to discuss their future plans.
We've got big dreams. Yeah. Big dreams.
So grab your board, surf's up. Welcome to a sunny new podcast where I'll be speaking to people from the arts, business and beyond, and shining a light on their stories of success on the South Coast. Welcome. It's a real pleasure to be joined by the original Sisters of Stoke today. So perhaps you could kick things off by introducing yourselves.
Do you want to go first?
Sure. I'm Lizzie. I'm one of the founders of Sisters of Stoke.
And I'm Mar. I'm the other founder of Sisters of Stoke.
Fantastic. Lizzie, I saw somewhere you were described as a true ocean soul.
Oh.
And I absolutely love that. I love the beach. It's one of the main reasons I moved back here. And we're only a few minutes away from like some of the beaches that you guys hang out at and surf at. And this podcast, as you know, it's all about the South Coast, right? So it's about time we had some surfers on. When I found out about what you guys were doing, I just thought it was such a cool concept. And it's just such a brilliant thing for the community. So I'm really glad to have you on today. So let's dive right in. For those who don't know, can you tell us who are the Sisters of Stoke?
The Sisters of Stoke is basically a local community for women who just want to get out there and do something fun, meet new people, make some new friends, start a new hobby, just get in the ocean basically.
Yeah, we try and empower women through surfing.
Excellent. I was going to ask, what is your mission and philosophy?
Our mission statement is surf, empower, repeat. That is kind of our vibe.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. I think I read that somewhere. Is it on your Instagram or something? It's just such a cool slogan. So who came up with the name?
Me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell us the story, and because Stoke's surfing slang, right?
Yeah,
So
a lot of people think it's like Stoke-on-Trent.
We get that a lot.
But it's not. Stoke is kind of like happy. Like, I'm stoked to be here. I'm happy to be here. So
I'm glad to hear it.
I was racking my brains for ages. My whole family was there, like, trying to come up with a name. And then it kind of, I don't even remember where it came from, but it just stuck. I was like, oh, I'll just have it, like, temporary until I find something really, really cool. But then it kind of just stuck. And I think, yeah.
It is really, really cool, though. I think it works really well, doesn't it?
It's quite a good one because not everyone gets it, which people are like, why would you want a name that, like, doesn't make sense? But it sticks in people's heads because they're like, Stoke, what? Stoke-on-Trent? What do you mean? And then we're like, no, Stoked.
So I was going to ask that, like, ask you both, like, individually, like, what does Stoke mean to you?
Just like, I think just like that sheer excitement and joy to get out in the water and surf, like
pure happiness.
Yeah.
Just like eager, just up for it, having a good time. Just you're just so stoked to just be there.
Yeah.
It is a perfect name, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure.
It is really cool.
Yeah, I think if you came to one of our surf socials, it's very much so a whole lot of Stoke.
Yeah. We're both pretty like energetic, like excitable people, so
for sure
we try and bring those vibes and just encourage everyone to have fun and not like feel pressure that they're being watched or like they're getting it wrong. It's just about giving it a go.
Yeah, wipe out after wipe out. You're still stoked.
Yeah. I read that the more wipeouts the better or
something. Oh, for sure. If you don't wipe out, that's boring.
Exactly.
So let's go back a little bit to the beginning then. Like, how did you guys meet and how did you get into surfing?
I started surfing, well, just before COVID. I think came out of like my first ever teenage relationship, and I just like wanted to do something cool. And surfing's, pretty cool. You've lived by the beach, you kind of have to. So me and like my mate just decided to get some boards and just give it a go. We had no lessons, nothing. Like I'm completely self-taught, which you could probably tell if you ever watch me surf. But yeah, and then I just really got into it. But then I slowly realised that there's not enough women in the sport. And number two, people at, like 17, 18, were more interested in going out, and that kind of wasn't really my vibe back then. I wanted to be by the beach. I wanted to like just have fun, like in terms of memory wise. I didn't want to be like going out drinking. For me, that's not as fun as going surfing. And then I realised that there's not really that opportunity for people to meet people who have moved down for uni or have moved down for work. So I guess I just wanted to create that space for other people. Me and you met surfing.
Yeah, we did. Which is weird because I did not surf. I'm from like not around here, and I've always wanted to surf because I used to like go to Devon a lot as a kid and to Dorset and places like that, and used to be like, oh my god, that's so cool, I want to be able to do that. And then I moved down here for work and like told myself like, I live by the sea now, I have to learn how to surf. Like now is the time, I've got to learn how to surf. And then we kind of met by chance, just became really good friends, and weirdly for me, he just happened to be a good surfer and enjoyed surfing, and I was like, oh, maybe that's how I can learn. So yeah, then we just became really good friends and started surfing together. Yeah, she taught me how to surf.
You didn't meet out on the waves then?
No.
You met on dry land.
We met at the beach. No, we did. We did meet at the beach.
Yeah.
We did meet at the beach. Because I used to work for a local surf shop. And then we just clicked instantly over Bon Jovi, I might add. Not even over surfing. It was Bon Jovi that kind of brought us together. And then we just never stopped seeing each other or speaking since then.
Oh, that is such a great story. I love that.
Yeah.
What do you think the benefits are of surfing then?
I don't even want to take it to that level, but for your mental health, it is life-changing. Like when this is going to sound really cliche, but when you're out there like on the water, you physically are unable to think about anything else other than like what's going on at this very moment in time. It's the most peaceful thing I've ever experienced.
Yeah. I find, so I work in mental health, and a lot of what we do is like mindfulness and things like that, and I used to find it really hard because I'm quite like busy minded and I used to find like breathing exercises and stuff quite difficult to like get on with. And then things like, well, I also play guitar, so things like that would help me, like doing an activity. And then when I found surfing, I was like, whoa, this is completely one thought. All you're really thinking about when you're learning is not falling off the board, so there's not much space for anything else. But it's really good to just like give yourself that time for an hour or two to like really just let your mind go blank and not be thinking about the stresses and the worries. And it's good for your physical health as well.
Yeah, you don't even realise how much cardio you are doing when you're surfing. Yeah. Like that, I don't go to the gym. All I do is surf.
Anyone who's ever tried to paddle out waves
don't even get me started.
How hard it is. Like,
sometimes I'll be there like with our friend, and we'll go to some like random place where the waves are so big, and I'm so exhausted, but the adrenaline, I mean, it would be like hours. On my birthday, we surfed like 5 hours, but the adrenaline just keeps you going.
And then suddenly you realise your arms are like lead.
Your arms are like jelly. You're so hungry. I don't think I've ever been that hungry after a surf. Like, it's so funny how much like physical and like mental like stuff that surfing helps you with. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it really ticks all the boxes,
Yeah,
doesn't
100%.
it? And I know what you mean, Lizzie, about there's something about doing like a physical thing, isn't there? Like guitar takes your mind off it to a certain extent, but that whole body, like all you can think about, like trying to stay balanced on a board. I mean, I'm like into running, and I find that similar. You just get into that kind of zone, and it's just the best thing there is for like mental health.
Yeah. I don't think. Well, I tell a lie. I was going to say I've never been. I'm always the happiest after a surf, but sometimes if the surf is not that great, it's not that exciting. But yeah, I'll take that comment
after
back.
a gnarly wipeout, maybe.
But
not.
we get where you're coming from.
Yeah, it's very frustrating sometimes.
Mar, you kind of touched on it a little bit already, but why do you think it was important to have a surfing community that was just for women?
I find the surfing community can be very toxic sometimes, and as a woman in sport, it's surfing. Women in surfing, they've never been paid as much as men, so they've always been looked down on in the sport, and it's something I'm quite passionate about. So that sense of community just helps people to just realise that nobody actually cares. Like you can do what you want to do and be good at it, or not even be good at it, and no one around you is going to judge you. And I think everybody needs that environment to just be themselves and just have fun. Yeah. Do you know? Does that make sense?
Oh,
is that like?
I think I was really lucky that we met.
Yeah.
So I had like kind of a safe person to go surfing with and to practice with and stuff, who would like kind of knew the etiquette and all of that. But when I came on board with this and we kind of took this group further, I really resonated with like how good it would have been to have a group that I could have gone to.
Oh yeah, I wish I had it.
It was so intimidating at the start.
Surfing.
Oh my gosh, it's so intimidating.
It's one of those things, isn't it? It's like you wish you had it, so you created it yourself. Kind
Yeah.
of thing.
Yeah, it can also be really, really cliquey. So like when you paddle out, everyone's kind of like looking at you like, who's this person? Like if they don't know you,
it's intimidating.
It's like territory.
For
Get
Yeah,
out of
100%.
Get off my wave.
100%. Like it's really, at the moment, especially in Bournemouth, it's quite bad. So I'm glad that we now have a safe space for women to just come and just enjoy surfing for what it actually is and not the toxicity part of it.
And we get like all abilities, all different women from different walks of life, different ages, different ability levels with surfing.
I mean, one of our best friends is double our age.
Yeah,
and she's an absolute icon.
Yeah, she's amazing. Shout out to Gina.
Yeah,
that it's quite a strong word. Like I kind of thought that it could be a little like a bit of a kind of vibe going on with the guys and that, but toxic. That's quite strong. But what kind of reaction do you get from these guys then when they see the Sisters of Stoke like rock up? Like
they do leave. They leave instantly. Like I remember. Do you remember like one of the biggest surfs we had? There was a guy, one guy in the water, and then like 50 of us just walked down the hill, and he literally 20 minutes later he just left. Yeah. Like it was so.
To be
funny
fair,
to
to an
watch.
extent, I kind of get it. Like you think you're having a nice, peaceful, quiet day on the waves, and then
me and you come running down the hill,
like screaming because we're very vocal. Like especially like I will be shouting like like go like. Doing so well, so I feel like it takes the serenity out of it for some people, which is fair enough. They didn't have to
There's really only two ways that goes, isn't there? So you either think this is the greatest day of your life, or like I'm going home now.
Yeah.
Usually it's the latter.
So how many members do you have in the community?
On Instagram, we've got nearly 2,400 followers, which is not even... It's a year on Wednesday.
Yeah.
A year tomorrow.
Which is amazing, right?
Yeah.
In a year. That's what blew my mind when I first met you guys and I went home. I was like, oh, that's a pretty cool idea. And then I looked and it's like 2,500 people. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
It is like...
It blows our own minds. We're just like, what?
Sometimes my parents need to remind me, like, it's only been a year. And I'm like, you're right. Like... It's gone crazy. We've got a WhatsApp chat and that's got nearly 300 girls in it.
Yeah.
Like it's just crazy.
That is really cool. And you've
got
a big
group chat to have.
You've got like tens of thousands of views on TikTok.
Yeah.
Have we?
A few of them, yeah.
I was doing my research.
Yeah, the TikTok kind of slacks a little bit on my behalf. But we get a lot of people have come to our socials and they've seen us on TikTok, which is wild.
Yeah.
Like
I saw an advert for you the other day. You were talking to me about Sea Monster Hanger. I was like, what?
Oh my god, yeah, I saw that came up on my own Instagram.
So you touched on it a little bit with your friend, and we talked earlier a bit off camera about some of the younger group. But what is the age range of your members?
Anyone can come, really.
Yeah.
Like if
It's
you're
really for
under
adults,
16,
yeah.
just make sure your mum is around
Yeah,
or
yeah.
dad. But you know, we were just telling you about Rupert, our
Honorary sister.
He's just turned 13. But his mum comes with him. Gina, we love them both. Like he's got more energy than like anybody. He's like a puppy when it comes to surfing. But yeah, so anybody can come. Like I said, we've got 50 to 60s women in their 50s and 60s. So like it's
wow.
no.
So it's a big range.
Yeah,
then.
100%.
Yeah.
I think
so
our
cool.
biggest, when we did our form that we sent out, our biggest age range is like 28 to 38. Like that's our highest majority.
Yeah.
But it's very, we want it to be a space that anyone can come to and not feel like,
Too old.
I'm too old for
young.
this, or I'm too young for that, or that's not really my demographic. The point is, surfing doesn't really know any age. Like you can still shred.
That is awesome, isn't it? Do you think, like, will you encourage like a younger demographic to go? Because it'd be quite cool to have like some sort of 12 to 15-year-old girls, wouldn't it?
100%.
Like really getting into it. It's almost like you want to try and get another little subgroup going for that.
Yeah,
I would love to start a kids club.
Yeah.
Like because I wish my parents forced me to do it when I was younger.
That's what I was thinking.
Because it's so much easier to pick up.
Totally.
Oh yeah,
when you're
I
younger.
wish I'd have been able
Like
to learn as a kid.
I remember one of the first times I went to Cornwall, I was struggling so much. And then this, like, he must have been like 7 or 8, just zoomed past me, caught a wave, and then I was like, wow.
Gel.
Yeah.
You're so right though, because having that community for young kids would just be incredible, wouldn't it?
yeah,
To get them into
100%.
it. There's an idea for you.
Yeah. Write that one down.
So speaking of kind of all the events and stuff, like what type of events and stuff do you do?
Well, mainly surfing, but due to the South Coast, we don't usually get a lot of waves often enough. So we do cold water swims, or in summer, just actually they're cold water swims all year round.
Yeah.
Sometimes we go out for drinks together.
We try and do things so like if people are nervous to come to a surf or they're a bit worried about it, because it still can be intimidating. We appreciate that,
Yeah,
like to
100%.
come somewhere you've not been and go to a group of women you've not met before.
Yeah.
We try and do like drinks or things so that people can come to that and then get used to people, know a couple of people,
yeah.
and then come to the next surf, or like message in the chat like, oh, and people come that way, and it's so fun. I can't tell you how nice it is when we see people coming back and we get to know people. It's like
regulars,
the best thing ever.
yeah.
It's all about the people you meet, isn't
Yeah,
it? Like this
100%.
whole journey.
I don't think they know how much like we value them, but we really do.
And we love seeing people make friends as
Yeah,
well. Like,
we're
because
so excited.
every time we see, like, obviously social media, you can see people hanging out with each other, or in the group chat when people are making plans and we've not even like set up a social. Oh, we're just like, they could be like us one day. Do you know what I mean?
It's awesome, isn't it? It's nice to know you kind of inspired them and brought all these people together, and I guess you see them kind of becoming mates and like hanging out, you know, separately even from what you guys are doing.
Yeah.
A bit like how you guys originally met.
Yeah.
Which is cool. So what did you say then? Some of your meets then, you get like 50 of you hitting the waves.
Yeah, the evening like sunset surfs in summer.
Yeah,
that
like
was where it really
season,
popped off.
Yeah, where it like kind of starts to get warm enough, light enough in the evenings. Everyone's so frothy. Everyone's ready to go. Like,
everyone is very excited.
I think it was about 40 women that came to that one, which was we were
crazy.
Like, what?
I've seen some of the pictures and videos. It's it's an epic sight seeing like you descending on the beach.
We were quite overwhelmed by that actually. We were like,
I remember
whoa.
when we were about to do like the welcome chat, I just folded completely. I just looked at all these people and I was like, oh my god. I was like, Lizzie, okay,
So you guys have most of the surfing meets in Highcliff, from what I could see. Is that the best place to surf around here? Because you do see some people surfing like occasionally around kind of between Boscombe, Bournemouth Pier. I mean,
I mean, as long as there's a wave, you can really go anywhere, to be fair.
Yeah, there's a bit of an unspoken rule in surfing.
Yeah,
not
you're
to
not
reveal your
supposed
surf spots.
But then again, I guess that's the whole point of our group. But no, yeah, we do go to Highcliff. It is for us, because it's such a big beach and there's so many different peaks, so you can't really get in anyone's way. It's so easy for us to just if it is a really good evening or really good time of the day to surf and there's a lot of people, we can just go a bit further down the beach and it will be
it's quite safe. We know it. It's really familiar. So like we obviously take everyone's safety really seriously. So that's another feature of like we know everyone. We can look after everyone.
We know
what
the
beach
way
is like,
that beach
the way the
works
tides
as well.
work. Like
so, what are you saying? You want me to bleep out your secret destination?
Maybe
not bleep out. I mean, we obviously like. It's like the exact location and when there's good waves and whatever. Because the forecast. You can only find
that out if you're a member of the secret WhatsApp group.
No, but like you have to know how to read a forecast in all. Because a lot of girls I see on the group
people
chat,
to go at the wrong times because it can be a bit.
Because a lot of people see like, oh my god, it's 6 to 8 foot, but it's like 4 seconds and the wind is like 45 miles an hour and the tide is like 1.8 meters. It's just not going to be good. Do you know what I mean? So, So if you know how to read the forecast, then it's all right. Like,
but there's some better.
Oh, if you know how that beach works, because some beaches don't. They might work when the wind or the swell's coming from a certain direction. Do you know what I mean? And the tide has to be at a certain point for that.
I think all of this type of stuff, this is the stuff people find scary, right? Because if you haven't ever done it before, you wouldn't have a clue about all this stuff. You kind of need someone to help navigate all that kind of stuff, don't you?
I remember walking to Boscombe Pier from my house when I first started surfing. It was so windy. That's when I bust my lip open.
Nice.
And I just didn't, and then I learned how to read the forecast and I was like, okay, right, we're there. Yeah.
So speaking of different places to surf, the other thing that I've always thought's really cool about what you guys do is running these like surf weekends where you take a group down to like Cornwall or Devon or something. Newquay, I mean, classic surfing site.
It has to be done.
So tell everyone about your surf trips then. What you can share anyway in polite company.
They are probably the most fun thing we do. I absolutely love our trips because it's really nice because it's a set group of people obviously, and so you really get to know everyone on a really individual level, and we see like really good friendships. I mean, we've made really good friendships ourselves. I know we run the group, but we like friends.
The
so
first
it's just
trip
so fun.
we had 18 of us.
Wow.
The second trip we decided to
do 12.
It's much easier to manage.
But it was still both trips were so much fun. They were
just
amazing.
Incredible. We were blessed with some really good weather the second time round. The first time round was rainy, but the waves were really, really good.
Yeah, we still had such a good time.
It's the night out that we go on is, I think, like, it's good because the demographic in Newquay is a little bit older than it is in Bournemouth, so you don't feel so old when you go out in Newquay, and it's fun. It feels a lot safer. Yeah. And it's just like,
we try to plan like an itinerary of like lots of different types of activities, so then people can like opt in if they want to, or opt out of things that they don't feel as comfortable with. But
we have a games
pretty
night.
Much everyone we like to have a games night.
It's really awesome, like the way you put all this stuff together. So you've done 2 so far, and both in the UK.
Yeah. I think we wanted to start off with somewhere that I knew very well. Yeah. Because obviously, like I said, different safety. Beaches, different vibes. So it's to just get used to planning these trips.
Yeah, because we're learning as well. It's a learning curve for us on like how to plan everything and organise it, and like the logistics, what works. We try and get a lot of feedback from our group so that we're making things people actually want to come to, because that's kind of the whole point.
I love how organised you guys are, like all these feedback forms and like knowing the demographic in your membership. It's like, wow, this is serious.
I don't know if I'd call it organised.
I think you're the first person to ever call this organised.
I think it's one of those things you probably underestimate, because when you're in the middle of the chaos, you probably think it's all over the place. But listening to it and seeing it from the outside, it's really impressive. Sorry to interrupt the chat. Just a quick one to ask a favour. If you're enjoying this episode, then please rate, review or subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Now back to the episode. You mentioned already, like, it can be a bit intimidating, right, for new people, and there is something about surf culture, even though it's really cool, it is kind of like, don't get in my patch, it's a very close-knit community, isn't it, those that are into it. So I wanted to ask, like, for maybe people in the audience, like young ladies or not even any lady that's from the area, and they think, oh, I want to give this a go, but I've not tried it, I'm a little nervous, and maybe they're even thinking, oh, I'm too old for that. Like, what's the advice? Like, what would you say to them?
Age is just a number. That's what I would say.
Yeah.
You're never too old to get on a surfboard. You're never too old to get in the sea.
Yeah.
You're never too young to do anything either. I mean, life goes by so quickly.
Yeah.
Live life with no regrets.
We'd love to see you. We'd love to meet you. Please come.
In terms of like, if you're too scared to come to a social, if you don't want to throw yourself in the deep end straight away, no pun intended. Thank you. I would definitely try and come to one of the more like easier socials, like a drinks or a swim or something, to just say that you meet people, meet us. We're not as intimidating as some people say we look.
No, I can vouch for you. They're not scary, really.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to just ease yourself into it.
Sometimes people like drop us, like me or Martina, a message beforehand if they're really nervous, and like we can then like arrange to meet them and like kind of bring them in and like warm them up a little bit, because it can be a bit intimidating. You know, you don't
100%.
You don't know how many people are going to come every time either, so you might come and there's like 4 people and it's a bit easier because everyone's kind of having a small conversation, or you might come and there's 40. So
yeah, no, exactly.
It's always a bit
sometimes
weird,
it might just be me, like them and just me and you, like, you know, that's happened before on like a very cold winter's morning.
No, that sounds good. I think you've put everyone's mind to rest now.
I hope so.
What do you think's needed then to encourage more women to get out into the water then?
Sisters of Stoke.
Better weather? I don't know. It's just 2 different vibes. No, it's hard in winter because it is very cold.
Yeah.
And the equipment's expensive. We're hoping to ease that at some point for some people, but yeah, I don't really know. I think
a lot of it is the intimidation, the actually just getting going with it, that would be kind of off-putting. So I think communities like ours really help to kind of bridge that gap and act, I guess, as an encouragement. And I think the more you see something, the more likely you are to try it. So just seeing us on Instagram, you might not necessarily follow us, we might just come up on an ad or whatever. If you see it, it's more normalised. It's like that unconscious thing of just subliminal messaging or whatever it is. So seeing it more, seeing it around, seeing women in the sport, seeing it on the Olympics recently, like that just does so much for women and everyone to surf. But
I mean, surfing, the sport itself is getting more and more popular every year. Like, I mean, before COVID, when I first started surfing, there was hardly any people in the water, and now, like, there's hundreds of them. Like, it's crazy how, I don't know, how quickly this sport is becoming popular. So it's good that communities like this are there so that people don't injure themselves, because there's safety aspects of surfing. It's a lot more dangerous than it looks. You know, like, you've got to think about the rips, the size of the waves, the actual break itself, like
the force.
Yeah, just the wind, everything. Like, there's so much more safety aspects than you'd think. Yeah. So it's good that we're here to if we see people trying to organise a surf and I don't feel like it's safe enough to go out, I will usually say, like, do what you want, obviously, but just be aware that, you know, it's going to be absolutely macking. Like, it's like
we've done like training courses and stuff
we do that as well
for like safety,
bystander courses,
just so that everyone in the water like has the opportunity to learn some safety. We do that with our friend and with kind Andy, of mentor Andy. We'll run like essentially if you're surfing, how to rescue someone else in the water. It's
called a bystander course. It's not a qualification in the UK yet, but it's
just good for awareness.
The more people in the water that know how to do this stuff, like, the safer the environment will become.
Because most rescues are done by the surfers in the water.
Because they're the first people on the scene,
especially on like non-life guided beaches and stuff.
That's really cool. I was going to ask as well, if I came down to one of your meetings and went round and I was asking all of your gang, like, what the best thing about being a Sister of Stoke is, what do you think they'd say?
I don't know. That's a very hard question.
I could tell you what I hope they would say. I hope that they would say the community, the support that you get, and
the welcomeness.
Yeah, and feeling like even if you are being a bit like making a bit of a tit out of yourself, and it's fine because usually I'm probably doing it worse. So yeah. Martina's like the one they go to look at like, this is what I want to be. That's great, and I'm the one that makes everyone feel like I can achieve that.
Yeah, because you've only been surfing for a year.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like it's so which is so good as well, because they see that you can do it. You can run a group like this, but you're still like. Not I mean, surfer. Yeah, like not that you're not that good.
You were trying to think of the right.
Yeah,
word.
I was like, no, but like I wouldn't even say I'm good. Like, do you know what I mean? I still get very frustrated in my like ability because I don't get out there as often as I want to. Like,
but I think for us, the point of it is not being really good.
It's to show them that it doesn't matter.
The fun and
like you're still gassed, like every single time we go, and I'm there getting so frustrated out the back, like putting all my energy into it, and you're there like. In the whitewash with all the rest of the girls. And sometimes I look at you and I'm like
it's the perfect balance though,
exactly.
You both, and it must work really well. So as well as arranging all these events and trips, you're also quite heavily involved in the local scene, and you work with some local companies as well. And I saw recently you joined up with Coldwater Collective, which is a great, another great organisation. I really want to get Annie on at some point.
Yeah.
And also Dorset Mind, when you did like an event in support of World Mental Health Day, and you already touched on all the benefits of surfing to your mental health. So how did you get involved in that?
I've known Annie for a while, to be fair. She just dropped me a message and asked. I think it's so much better when like multiple communities get together, because we're all in this for the same reason, really. And you know, I think for me and you, mental health is so important when it comes to our community. Like we want this to be the reason people get out of bed in the morning. We want our group to be the reason why, or communities like us to be the reason why people, you know, are happy or excited for the weekend. So when Annie,
have that social connection. as well.
When Annie told me about the thing that she was planning, I was like, let's go for it. I'm more than happy to be involved.
Yeah, it's a really good like pairing, isn't it? You guys, it just works perfectly together. So and we talked a bit earlier as well. I saw an awesome looking campaign that you guys shot with a Bournemouth based company, Pineapple Island, who are a local company who produce ethical jewellery. And I read about them that it said they're committed to sustainable job creation for their Balinese makers, and their jewellery and accessories that directly contribute towards positive social change. So that's very much like in line with your guys' values. You guys are in quite an influential position. You know, you've got a community, you know, 2,500 people, lots of girls following what you do. How do you decide who to collaborate with, and how important are the values?
We're pretty strict with who we collaborate with, actually, which some people find surprising and think, like, wouldn't you just, like, grab any people because you want to get your name out there, which obviously there is an element of that. But we really care about the people. We're not trying to.
We don't want to lie to anyone. Basically,
we're not just looking to sell stuff to people for ourselves. We don't make money from this. It's not like that's not why we're here. We want to recommend things to our community that we genuinely like and believe in. So we only partner with companies who are like, we love Pineapple Island. We were so excited when they reached out to collaborate with us. Like, we both love their jewellery. We love what they stand for.
Every brand that we have worked with so far or will work with in the future is so genuine that we actually use in our day-to-day life. Like Sea Monster, they're also, I think they're from Cornwall, but they make ethical wetsuit hangers because it lengthens the life of your wetsuit and various other things. And I remember I always wanted one of those hangers. And then they reached out to us as well. So we've done a bit with them. But they're life-changing hangers as well. You wouldn't think a wetsuit hanger would change your life that much, but it genuinely does. Like there is nothing worse than putting on a cold wetsuit at 6 o'clock in the morning in the middle of winter.
No.
But like, honestly, it does dry your, I mean, this is no promo, but like, honestly, they do dry your wetsuits ridiculously quickly. So yeah, anyway, we do work with brands that we do absolutely love ourselves.
I think both of us are too, like, I think we're both quite genuine people, and I think we would find it really hard to act like we like something or get behind something that we don't actually really believe in, because we can talk like that about something we really like and get excited about it, and people can pretty easily tell if we're not being genuine, because we'd be like, oh yeah, it's great. So I think for us to be true to ourselves and true to what we want the group to be, we only just partner with people that we like. We've been really lucky that people have reached out to us that we really like and are brands we genuinely enjoy.
I think it's really good to hear that, because like you say, there would be a different path, wouldn't there, of just like taking any opportunity you can get just to make a quick buck. But in the long game, you really want your community to kind of have trust in you.
Oh, 100%. I mean, they look up to us for everything. Like, every time someone wants to buy something new, we'll get a DM on Instagram or a message on WhatsApp. Like, and it's so good to be able to just like know that they actually do trust our opinion, and we don't want to break that.
No.
Like, we never want to be the person who people don't know about, who run this thing. Like, we want to always be there. We want people to know us for who we are. We don't want to just be a name, a creator. Like, that's not what we want to be.
That's really cool. It must be super flattering having these brands that you love, like actually reaching out to you. That must be amazing.
We have a little excited scream.
Yeah, it's weird though, because people actually do recognise us in our day-to-day life. Like, it sounds like we're celebrities, but we're not. But
within your community, though, you must be to an extent.
We went down to Cornwall once, and someone was like, "Oh my god, the Sisters of Stoke." And
yeah, like, what? We went for a sauna the other day.
Can you sign this for me?
No, just everyone's like, "I know you from somewhere," and I'm like, "Do you surf?" And they're like, "Kind of," and I'm like, "Well, yeah, Sisters of Stoke. Like, I used to work at surf shop." Like, it's very weird. Like, even my manager at work, like, she was like, "Oh my god, is that you?" And I was like, "Yeah." Like, it's
you need
so
to
crazy.
Start selling merch. Like,
we want to. We do.
You should at least
Anyone
have t-shirts, because the logo is really cool. I really like the logo.
Thank you. We've just changed the logo actually.
Oh, have you? Okay.
I got beefed for it quite a bit.
Yeah.
It's not that different. You probably wouldn't.
No, they're just the Surfer Girls changed from being the I to the T, which makes more sense.
When's that going to be launched?
It already has.
Is it okay? Yeah. That must be the one I've seen then.
Yeah.
You need to get that on a t-shirt.
So on our trips we do like goodie bags.
Yeah, I saw that. You got like
so we've done some tote bags and some t-shirts for that, and they usually go down really well. We try and do like a different design each trip. That's like unique to the trip for the girls that went.
It's a great memento, isn't it?
Yeah.
People on
I wear
that
my
trip.
one all the time.
I know, same. I use my tote bag all the time.
Is there anyone else that you're working with, any other partnerships coming up that you're excited about at the moment?
And not at the moment. Sisters of Stoke's been quite like, I don't want to say back burner, but you're getting ready to go to Australia. I've just started a degree, so at the moment, we've not really put as much effort as we'd like to into it, but that will be changing as of tomorrow. So
well, let's talk about that. You queued it up perfectly, because it's kind of like we kind of wanted to time this roughly for the anniversary, didn't we? But the way it's worked out, the fact that the anniversary is actually tomorrow is like kind of perfect. So it's awesome. Like, you're celebrating the first birthday. When you started the group, did you kind of have any idea what it would grow to become in that sort of short time?
Not a clue. Like, I remember, because you didn't join, I didn't ask you to be part of it straight away, because I was like, it's not going to be that big. Like, I can do this myself. And then after like a month, I was like, I remember crying to my mum. I was like, "Mum, I can't do this." And then I remember I didn't even ask you. It kind of just happened. Like, you really just weird. Joined, and then I don't know what I'd do without you. So, because we both have very full time. Like, we both love being busy.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's nice to just be like, "Can you just do this?" Or like, we've now even got our Sammy.
Yeah, Sammy.
Our Sammy, who's our photographer, who just deals with all of the like photos and everything, which is
that's
such
a full-time job in
yeah.
itself,
which we realised pretty quickly.
I couldn't even like filming content and stuff. Like, it's so hard with the lives that me and you lead.
Yeah.
Tell me about it. It's really difficult, but you guys are doing a great job on it. It did kind of make me laugh when I was kind of thinking about it, and I thought, these guys started a surf club in like or community in the middle of winter. Like, you thought it would be a good idea to start it in December.
Well, technically, people did come, but
proper hardcore, right?
Technically, like, winter is surf season in the UK, so for me it made so much sense. Whereas everybody else, and my mum was like, "Why don't you just wait till summer?" And I was like,
"Yeah."
No, like I'm
too
eager. Yeah, imagine if we did. Like, I was way too eager to start it. I was so excited.
Yeah. I think it worked really well though.
Yeah, everything happens for a reason.
Yeah. I think we both got we're both very ambitious people, I'd say, as well. So we both have a lot of like goals that we want for the group and where we see it going and what we want it to kind of be.
Hold that thought, because we're going to come to that.
We keep predicting
before we get to that. What's the highlight for you both of the first year, would you say?
The first surf where like we, the one we were talking about earlier on, but there was like 45 people. That was incredible. But also the trips.
I was going to say, I think our first trip was just like
the amount of people that wanted to come.
Yeah, we were overwhelmed.
It sold out in like 24 hours or something like that. Like, it was ridiculous.
And we had a waiting list.
Yeah. We had quite a high waiting list.
And we are both kind of like perfectionists in a lot of ways, and we really, really, really wanted to make it special for everyone and make it something that people would really enjoy and have a good time. And I think we felt like really proud of ourselves after that trip, because everyone gave such good feedback and everyone really had a good time, and it went really well.
Did you do another feedback form?
Maybe. we did. No, it's good to look, because we want to be perfect for the community. Obviously, no one's ever going to be perfect, but
we're willing to adapt.
Yeah, we want to just be like that place for everyone where they get what they want. Because I think my experience, I've joined a few communities like outside of surfing, and it's not what I would want, it's not, the community aspect isn't there, or it's a bit too cliquey, or it's not. So I want it to be like the most welcoming place where everybody gets what they want from that group.
And what feedback have you had then that's kind of made you rethink or kind of evolve it?
Well, from the first trip to the second trip,
we made a lot of tweaks from that. Because as well, we're quite upfront and honest with our community, and we kind of say like, we're new at this, we're learning. Like,
we have a feedback form in our bio in case anybody wants to give us any feedback.
We love to learn and improve.
And we love a Google form.
We do. So it's quite nice to be able to get that direct feedback, like we say, to mould the group to what people actually want. But I think for the trips and stuff, especially because people are paying money for that, we feel certainly a pressure, relatively for what they're getting. It's a good price, but in terms of, we want that to be like, oh my god, that was worth every penny. That is like the best trip ever. We got exactly what we wanted from it. So we take on board feedback. We try and plan ahead for like every eventuality, and we won't like compromise comfort and like the experience. We want it to be really, really good, and we kind of partner with people down in Cornwall that we trust and would want.
Yeah, we want people to leave being like, I cannot wait for the next one.
Yeah, like, put me on the wait list.
Yeah.
To be honest, I saw quite a few comments like that. Like, you get amazing feedback. Like, I saw loads of comments on it. Like, I can't wait for the next one. Like, as soon as they're back from.
Yeah, they love it.
It's really, but I think like your passion for it and the way you describe it, like you really do think of everything. Like it doesn't go unnoticed, that type of stuff.
Yeah. It's our pride and joy.
Yeah,
it really is.
So to finish up on the anniversary then, what have you got planned to celebrate?
Bit of a party.
There is nothing me and Lizzie love more than a boogie, and we thought that the best way to celebrate it is dancing the night away. So we have, on the 27th of December, everybody is welcome, no matter what gender you are. We have a party. The tickets are free. It's in the Old George in Christchurch. Our tickets are in the bio.
But we'll put a link to that as well.
Yeah, please do. We just want to celebrate it, which is why we're opening it for everyone, because our families and like the people around us have helped us and supported us so much through everything. We want everybody who's ever helped and supported us along the way to be there to celebrate a whole year of growth and success and everything. And what better way to do that than a boogie?
Yeah, absolutely. It sounds awesome. I might have to look in the diary so see what I'm up to on the 27th.
I did send you a link.
I've got it. I probably will be there.
But it's an awkward time. It's like between Christmas and New Year where people are like, might still be hungover.
See, I think that's a good time because everyone's
there's
a lull. Everyone's like,
it kind of is a lull. Nobody knows what day it is. Nobody knows.
Come to our party.
Yeah, come and join us.
One thing I wanted to talk to you guys about was part of the kind of mission of this podcast is to inspire local people, and like that's why what you guys are doing is just perfect. But you've created we've talked about this whole amazing community in a really short period of time, like just the 12 months. What do you think you both individually kind of bring to your kind of partnership? And maybe it's fun if like Lizzie, you tell me what you think Mar brings, and then
I can tell you what Lizzie brings. My brain tends to run a bit. I like to just be like bam, 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 and Lizzie's like, well, there are steps in between that. So you kind of, I don't know. I don't know how to put it into words. How much like I wouldn't be able to do this without her. Like it's very much so. Like we both have our own what's the word?
I don't know.
Skills.
That's the one. We both have our very own skills which complement each other.
Yeah.
And it just works so well. Like and I'm not very good at all the Excel sheets and various things. So again, she does that all for me.
Bits.
Yeah, and you can gas me up a bit.
Oh well. I think obviously Martina brings the self-knowledge. We would not really be able to run a self group without that. That would be pretty hard. I think she's got a really nice like manner of teaching people in a way that doesn't feel like patronizing or like she thinks she knows everything. There's a really nice gentle way that you speak to people, and me obviously because I'm still learning as well, in terms of like coaching and giving guidance but not overstepping, and I think that really works well in our community. And I just think like I love how much you love it and you just want it to be like the best thing ever, and we're both similar in that way. And when I see you get so excited, it makes me so excited, and we kind of like bounce off each other.
Yeah, also me and Lizzie share a singular brain cell. Like if you know us, you know that that's very true. We live inside each other's brains. Like I think although me and you have only been friends for like just over a year, like it's incredible how me and you are just the same person. Like I feel like we're like genuine soulmates, as cringy as that may sound, but like I've never met anybody who just knows me as well as Lizzie does. Like if we're in like a social and you can tell that I'm nervous, you'll just like jump in and you won't make it like obvious. Because again, that's another reason like I enjoy having her with me. That I'm not always as confident as I come across to be, and you know that, so you'll like take over without kind of putting me down in that way, which is just like for me, it's just like thank God. Like
that is amazing. I mean, it's crazy. Like, I would never have guessed you'd only known each other for a year. It's like
everyone thinks we're sisters.
Yeah, well, you've known each other since you were like 5.
No, not at all.
It feels like that. I'm essentially like,
yeah,
I never leave your house. Your
family
you're
part
like,
of my family. It's either you or my boyfriend that's at my house. So if Tom's not there, then you're there. It's like, you know,
one or the other.
Part of the furniture now.
That is really lovely, and your passion, like maybe in slightly different ways, both really does come across, which I think is one of the big kind of probably secrets to it all, if there is a secret. And that kind of leads me on to something where, because I think it's amazing meeting friends when you've got like this kind of common interest, isn't it? Like when you're really into the same type of thing. What advice would you give others if there's people watching and they're like really into something, and it might be like knitting or like whatever, something random, but if they wanted to start a community around whatever it is that kind of rocks their world, like what's the tips?
If you can't find what you're looking for, do it yourself.
Yeah.
I was talking to someone about this the other day. They were like feeling really lost and stuff, and I was like, do you know what? Like, I've spoken to so many people who have so many regrets, And that's something that I strive not to be like. Just if you have a dream, if you have a passion, go for it.
Yeah.
Like we are only here once, and it goes pretty quickly. So, you know, if you want to do something or you can't find what you're looking for, just create it yourself, or just go and join that group, because you don't want to look back and regret it. Like I said, we are only here for this very short amount of time.
I think for me, I feel quite empowered in the thought that like I have agency and I have control over my life. I mean, when I moved down here, I literally didn't know anyone. I had no friends, and that was a bit like, whoa, that's quite intense. So I had to go out there and find friends and make a community. And you know, I've only lived here for just over 2 years, so in that time I've got more of a community here than I had where I grew up, like years of my life. And it's because I wanted it, and I wanted to learn some new skills and meet new people, and I think I put myself in places. You have to face a few rejections, don't get me wrong. There was a few times I went to different groups and was like, oh, no one likes me here, okay. Until I found...
You will find your niche.
Until you find the place that
if you want to start your own community though, what's the advice? Is it like make sure it's super welcoming and kind of...
You don't want
I
people
guess
to
you've got
feel...
to pick something that you're really passionate about, because that's key as well, right? If people turn up and
you have to be a people person to do it, for sure.
Do you think that's a key skill?
100%. Like, you can't run a group like this and not have any people skills.
I guess I would say, like, thinking about what it would take to, like, make another group, you've definitely got to have a passion for what you're talking about. And I think...
And the energy.
Yeah, the energy. I think be willing to, like... It's like a second job. It is like a full-time job. And I think if you weren't passionate about it and you didn't love it, it would fizzle out. You wouldn't want to do it.
And people can see that. Like, people can see if you're really into it or you're just doing it just to do it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think if you're wanting a space and you feel like, let's say you're knitting, my sister knits, she loves it. If she wanted to make a knitting community, I would be like,
go for it, girl.
Just put yourself out there. Go through social media platforms. That's a
You're
great
gonna
way
fail.
to start.
Like, but you have to be able to pick yourself back up. And I think luckily for me and you, we both got quite like close knit families. So it might be a lot easier for us to, you know, get back up every single time, but eventually it will work. And my brother gave me some incredible advice when I was like 19, and this changed. I used to be so insecure, so confident, so not confident. I used to let fear get in the way of anything, and he kind of just like, he sat me down and he was like, the only thing that is stopping you from doing all of these things you're talking about is yourself. And I was like, do you know what, Luca? You are correct. Like, and honestly, ever since that day, I'm a different person. I've just completely changed.
Can you imagine an amazing guitar player and full of wisdom?
He is a very wise boy.
Wow.
I don't want to make his head any bigger.
I don't know if he needs that.
But no, he is the reason why I am where I am right now. I'll be completely honest.
Yeah.
So yeah. Big up Luca.
No, that's cool. Lots of good advice for people out there. So now we can talk about the future. I know, Lizzie, you already had thoughts on that. So I guess firstly, what's the plans for 2025?
Ooh. That's a great question.
Yeah, next year's going to be tricky for us. Well, for me in particular, because certain someone has booked a one-way flight to Australia.
I have.
So next year it will all still run as it usually does.
Yeah.
But I'm planning on being away for a few months towards the end of next year. So I think we're having a meeting tomorrow evening.
Yeah.
With the
team. We're trying to plan it and see.
We're just trying to take it as it comes, really.
Do you think there'll be more surf trips? So
yeah, 100%. We were talking about going somewhere abroad, because that's our goal.
Say it's like Portugal or something.
Yeah,
like that,
Portugal.
Yeah.
Ultimately,
I'd love
to
go to
start
Morocco.
doing abroad
Yeah,
trips and things
eventually
like
we'd love to go to Bali or Australia.
Yeah, catch me up.
Yeah. So yeah, next year's going to be very much so go with the flow, take every day as it comes. We'll do a lot of planning. Lizzie will have her own little vlog of the week in Oz.
Picking up all those tips from the Aussie surfers.
Yeah, we are actually, we connected with a group
in
Australia. So hopefully you'll go and join them. It's a similar group to us, but in Perth.
Yeah,
I think.
I think, well, they have a few around, but Perth is the main one that we link with.
So you might learn some new stuff from there, which will be
Yeah.
exciting to bring back. And
Definitely.
following that vlog will be pretty cool, as well as part
Yeah.
of your community.
Yeah, because Lizzie still has to be very much so involved.
Yeah, of course.
And then when I'm away, it'll be the opposite.
The other way around, yeah.
Although I won't be surfing.
In Utah.
No.
Yeah, just because you're going to be on the other side of the world doesn't mean you're still
Oh no,
not
if
gonna
anything,
be-
I won't have a full-time job then, so technically I need to up my game.
Yeah, exactly.
She's gonna be like, right, admin girly, off you go.
Yeah.
So I guess then beyond 2025, because that's a pretty hectic year with everything going on, like what's your kind of hopes and dreams for the Sisters of Stoke, like more long term?
We want to be empowering women all around the world. We want to be surfing in different places. We want, I don't know, there's just so much that we like I said before, we want to be involved in it all. Like, we don't want people to be like, oh, like, have you ever met Mar and Lizzie? Like, we want to be there every single trip, every single social. Like, eventually we want this, for me anyway, I want this to be my full-time, like, job. I want it, not even a job, just a thing that I do. I don't see it as a job. I see it as, like, a hobby still. Like, it's, and I just want...
Following the waves around the world.
Yeah, I literally, that's what I do.
A different surf trip
We want
every
it to be...
weekend.
Yeah.
We want it to be, oh, my brain's gone blank.
We want
I'm thinking of a word and I can't find the word where people get
Describe
access.
it.
We want it to be accessible for absolutely everybody, because surfing can be expensive.
Yeah.
Like, not everybody can afford to just pack up and go to Bali. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, we want it to be as accessible as possible for everyone, but still having those opportunities for people to travel, to learn how to surf. My dream is to have a surf school. Like, that's like we want
big picture. We think far in the future, I'll be real,
Mm.
but
That's brilliant.
We
I
get
love
excited.
that you've got this kind of like plan.
we've got big dreams. Big dreams.
That's really cool.
And I think what's good about both of us is, like, we both genuinely believe we can get there. I don't think either of us are just like paying a lip service or just saying it. Like,
No.
we genuinely believe
Yeah.
if we work hard enough, we'll get there.
I think that's why people need to remind us, like, you've already done, like, pretty good stuff.
Yeah.
And we're like, no, but
We're
we
like,
know,
yeah, but this.
but we want the next thing.
Well, I think I'm a pretty good judge of character in talking to you guys. I can definitely tell that you've got that combination of like the passion, but also like that real steely determination, which you kind of need both, don't you? And you've got like the planning and all those ingredients. So no, it's really exciting. I guess just for the benefit of people listening, like you've mentioned, like you're doing this as kind of a second full-time job. What do you guys do when you're not surfing?
You have a full-time job.
I do.
I'm, like I said, I just started my degree. I also work on the weekends. Also run a football team as well. Yeah, there's a whole lot of stuff.
Yeah.
but
you both want to make Sisters of Stoke ultimately your
the main
full-time thing.
Yeah.
And I'm not calling it a job. Like,
No.
yeah.
I don't want it to be a job.
No.
Like, I want it to just be
It's not a job when you love it, is it?
No, 100%.
Well, if we can then, let's move on. I mean, clearly, like, this, you absolutely love doing what you do. It's put your happy place or one of them out on the waves. And as you know, one of the themes of this podcast is happiness. It's such a small word, right? You know, you get taught it as a kid, like, oh, happy, sad. But it can be really complex in the modern world. Like, what is that? What does that mean? So can I ask you both, like, what does true happiness mean to you?
I think this is something that I reflect on quite a lot, to be fair. Like, I spend a lot of time thinking about this. And for me, I think I've come now at this point in my life, it may change. I may think differently in the future. But for now, I think it's just that feeling of like contentment and like trusting yourself and trusting that what you're doing, you know what's best for you and what you're doing is right at this time. And I think being open to change and not being too set on it has to be this way. I think that's something that the community has definitely taught me, is that if you're waiting for it to all go perfectly for you to be happy, you're not going to be very happy, because rarely do things go perfectly, and actually there's something beautiful in the chaos and in not going to plan and actually having to adapt and see how you can change things. So I think in a roundabout way, that's what happiness is for me.
For me, I'd say it's kind of similar, just living in the moment and just living with absolutely no regrets and being able to look back and think, oh God, I'm so glad that happened, because look where I am now. Just being so content with life and just looking forward to waking up every morning and just not even knowing what's going to happen the next day, but just being so excited for it and just like, I don't know, just living in the moment, I guess, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, those are both really great answers. I really love that.
We both seem very philosophical.
I know, it's brilliant, isn't it? I love the fact you said this is something you've reflected on, because these are like the big questions, aren't they? And similarly, another kind of mission of this podcast is to almost try and dispel the myth of like success, particularly the way it's kind of portrayed in this sort of social media kind of generation. And I think that again is one of the great things about you guys, because you use social media but in such a positive way. So again, like what does success mean to you, and like from both a personal perspective and also what would success look like for Sisters of Stoke?
Do you want to go first on that one?
I'll let you go first on that one.
Okay. I think success for me, funnily enough from your previous question, is whatever, as in on a personal level, for me is just whatever I'm doing that makes me happy. I think
Stop. I was going to say the exact same thing. This is what I mean.
One brain cell. I don't think of success in like a financial sense or a, academic achievement or anything like that. I think some of the best things I've achieved in my life to others may have no value, but for me, they brought me such happiness and joy. And I think for me, I'm such a people person and I love people. I obviously work in psychology, so that kind of helps. But I think for success, to make others happy, for me to be happy and to make others happy,
have an impact on other people.
I feel like, whoa, I'm great. I'm successful as can be. And I don't really care what other people think success is, like in terms of if they don't agree with me or they think that I'm unsuccessful. I know the truth.
No, exactly.
And I think for Sisters of Stoke, success looks like making as many women feel that way as possible through Seth.
Yeah. I've never had those dreams of being like wealthy and owning a company and things like this. Like my dream has always been to like have a family and just be content with my life. And when I get there and I can look at Sisters of Stoke and see the impact that we're making on people's life and just seeing the community grow and grow and grow and us being the reason for that, and alongside that growing my own family and stuff like that, then I'll look at my life and I think, wow, like I've made it, I guess.
Oh, they're both really fantastic answers. Do you mind, Liz, if I ask, like you said there's been certain things in your life that you've achieved that you look on as like the real successes that other people may not have necessarily reflected on in the same way? Can you think of like an example that you'd be happy to share of that type of thing? Because I think that's the kind of really important message for people.
Yeah, I guess like there's a few things I can think of that were huge for me that I mean other people probably wouldn't care much about. I think moving down here was a pretty big thing to do, like pretty much on my own. I think something that I think is like a huge success is our friendship. Like I feel so happy and content having someone that I trust so much and I could go on this kind of a journey with, and I've never had a friendship where I haven't for 1 second doubted it, and I know you love me as much as I love you. And I think for me that's like, to other people that might just be like, oh, you've got a friend, chill out.
Yeah,
for me it's like, I just see that as such a huge success, and the fact that I guess for me it's like the fact that I know you love me and I know your family love me, for example. I must be doing something right, because that to me is success. Yeah.
Well, I think like a lot of the people that study that kind of thing would completely agree, because I think some of the biggest studies in this kind of area of happiness and success always say it's really the people around you and having those relationships. So it's really nice to hear like a kind of personal story on that front. Well, I want to finish with a feature that I call Life by Misadventure, and I'm hoping you girls can relate to this, because I've always thought that you learn so many like important life lessons outside of your kind of day-to-day job. And I think, you know, that could be completely by accident, whether it's travelling and obviously activities like surfing. You have experiences you'd never have otherwise. And I always think of my own days playing in bands and things, like the lessons you learn. So I just wonder, like for you guys, can you think of any lessons that you've learnt from out surfing or any other unexpected source?
Oh, that's such a good question.
I don't know.
Say it. Go
No,
on.
I think it's a bit cliche. Like, what, from that surfing's to us?
Well, it could be surfing or anything else, like off the beaten track, you know, outside of learning at uni or learning at a job, you know, something out of the ordinary.
I'm gonna have to think about that.
I think, to be fair, I think I've learned, I know you said not from your job, but I think my job's quite unusual because I work in children's mental health, and I think I learn a lot from the young people that I work with. I appreciate they're coming to me for help with their mental health, but I think I really don't take for granted the lessons they teach me, and actually to be brave is something that I've really taken from them. And I think I see that reflected in Sisters of Stoke as well, because the women that come and that have never tried this, and it is so huge for them to come do something brand new, meet a load of new people, and still give it a go and love it and come back the next week. I think anytime I'm feeling like, oh God, I'm nervous about this, like before this podcast, I'm like, be brave, because that's what they've taught me.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. I really love that. And what about you, Mar? Have you...
I guess I've just learned to just grab every opportunity. Like, I remember I worked in the care home when I was 16 years old. It was one of my first ever jobs. And a lot of the like residents used to talk about regret, and I think I've already touched on that before. And I never want to be that person that just regrets not doing this, not doing that. So yeah, I've just, in my late teens, early 20s, I've just learned to just never say no and just grab every single chance, opportunity you can get. Go to that gig, go to that show, go to that party with that friend. You never know you never know what's around the corner. And I think everyone goes through the good and the bad, and looking back at my life, I'm so glad the bad's happened, because if it didn't happen and thanks to my family, didn't get back up, I would never ever be where I am right now, where I can sit there and be so proud of like how far I've come, or what we've created, the friends I've made, the relationships I've made. Like, does that make sense? I don't...
No, completely. I was just sat here thinking, I really, really love that answer. It's funny, isn't it? Because it's almost, as a young person, it's almost something everyone should be forced to do. Go and spend some time with some old people.
Yeah,
like that.
100%.
It does kind of focus your mind. If you hear a bunch of these guys going, oh, I regret this and I wish I'd done this, it's kind of like the perfect lesson to learn, isn't it? And from a very unexpected source, like working in an old people's home like that. So no, that's a great answer. Sadly, that brings us to the end, though. It's been such a fun conversation. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
So what are the best links then for people if they've heard the conversation? I can imagine everyone's going to be dying to come and meet you guys and hit the waves with you. So what's the best place to come and track you down?
Instagram's our most
It goes
active.
Instagram, TikTok, Facebook.
Okay, cool.
Because we've got to reach all their demographics.
So we'll put all those links out on the podcast. And is that the best way for them to get in touch with you?
Yeah, drop
if
us a
there's
DM.
people, or they can fill in your form.
If they want to give us some feedback, yeah, please do.
Sure,
We're
please
always
give us
looking.
loads of bad reviews from this
Even if you
podcast.
have like something negative to say or you didn't like something, like
Yeah,
we
we welcome that.
we would be so happy to just hear it. Like I said, we just want to be perfect.
That's such a good message. I really love what you guys have created. Like I said, as soon as I spoke to you, I just thought this is awesome, and you guys were so passionate about it. And like even today, it's just even better talking to you properly. You've just created such an amazing, like, positive community, which is just exactly what we need round here. As I mentioned earlier, as soon as my daughter's old enough, she'll be definitely a Sister of Stoke. And
Can't wait to have her.
it's just so cool what you've managed to achieve in such a short space of time, and I really can't wait to see where you guys take it. So thank you very much.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for having us.
We've really enjoyed it.